So we're here in Walsall Town Centre reviewing a new EV charger today, and this one is free. However, with free often you can expect compromises, and what we have here are two Rolec EV chargers that provide 3 charging points, all at 3 kilowatts. What does that mean? Well, let's find out. Getting your car plugged into this charger is very, very simple. All you have to do is get your lead out with your cable, plug the first part into your car, the second part into the charger, wait for the lights to turn green, and that's it, you're charging. Very convenient. That's the kind of stuff we love to see. Naturally, a free-to-use electric vehicle charging spot would come with some other concessions, and one of those is a parking lot like this would obviously require you to pay for parking. And even as an EV driver, there's no special privileges here. You are going to be paying for parking. That's a simple fact about it.
As of this recording, the parking rates for this car park are £1.40 for 1 hour, £2.30 for 2 hours, £3.30 for 4 hours, and £4.90 for 24 hours.
You can park at Tesco for like half an hour free and then pay £5 at Tesco, or you come here and use this parking spot instead if you're going to stay for any extended period of time. I think being able to come over here and charge your car on top of it is quite a nice little benefit. In that it's included in the cost of your parking. But 3 kilowatts, what does that really mean? So
if I charge my car at 3.6 kilowatts for 1 hour, I would have gained 3.6 kilowatt hours in my battery. What this means is that if my car consumes 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, I would have regained around 14 miles of range.
This, I think, is the main issue with this charger. It's just too weak.
Remember this point, because we're going to come back to it.
So what we have here are two of the best examples of why you'd want to park and charge here. So behind me is a restaurant that is Royal Punjab British Asian Kitchen. That's one of the newer restaurants here. I haven't been there personally myself. The thing about it, you're coming here and you're going to stay for around 1 to 2 hours. Where would it logically make sense for you to stay for 1 to 2 hours? That's right, a restaurant, especially if you've got like a big party going on. Obviously probably not in COVID times like now, but say back in the real world, when you really wanted to celebrate something, that's one example of why you do it. The second one is also behind me. This is the Travel Lodge. Naturally, if you're journeying, you need someone to stay near Walsall, say for example you're visiting family around here and you've got an electric car, actually you can use the car charger here for however long you're staying. By the parking here, you can stay for up to 24 hours at a time, and that will cost you about £5. 24 hours I think would be enough to fill up most cars, or at least like get them to a point where they could do a fairly substantial journey. Definitely long enough for you to get to another rapid charger or a faster charger than that if you need to. So yeah, every little bit helps. You're not paying anything to use the charger itself. The only payment you're probably making is paying for the parking spot. So that's an interesting way to think about things. I think this is where the most interesting thing about this charge point is. During the process of this review, I was thinking, I heard about the charger before, and before I was thinking 3 kilowatts, who's that useful to? But actually when I think about what the purpose of these chargers are for and like why they're probably designed this way, it actually starts to make sense. 3 kilowatts, if you're spending an hour here, that will get you, for someone whose car consumes around 4 miles per kilowatt hour in the city. That's what my car does. Generally, a lot of the bigger cars, you're looking at something like 3.8. Your Teslas, you're looking at something more like 4.5 to even 5 kilowatt hours, anywhere between city driving speeds to motorway speeds. If you're getting that kind of thing, 1 hour charging gives you that 12 to 15 miles. Now, in reality, what that means for people like me is that, 1 hour here, if I'm on empty and I need to get to Birmingham, I just plug in here, charge, go down to Walsall Town Centre, spend an hour just like looking around the shops, I come back and I can get to my home in Birmingham. And I think that's the purpose of this. If you're spending 1 to 2 hours here inside Walsall and you need to get somewhere that's about as far as Birmingham or Wolverhampton, but if you're looking to get to anywhere that's that far, and in reality, if you're coming to Walsall, like you're going to places like Rushall, Brown Hills, Pelsall, an hour here would get you, essentially give you your journey back for free. So if you spent the electricity getting here, like the battery time getting here, 1 hour on this charger while you're out busy doing your shopping essentially makes that journey free and allows you to go home as if you never left at all. And I think that's the point of this charger. It's not supposed to be your daily driver. It's not supposed to be the one that you come to if you don't have a charger at home. What it is supposed to do is to make your shopping trip free. And for that, I do think that it does make sense. The issue is that obviously, in our numbers-driven world, bigger often means better for a lot of people. And to be honest, that was the same for me. I was looking at this thinking 3 kilowatts, who is that useful for? But actually, when I think about the purpose of this charger, it does make sense. You know, not everything needs to be a 22 kilowatt, you know, fast charger. You know, for example, I can't even take 22 kilowatts. I can only take 7, 50 or 100. You know, 100 is fine. I mean, 7 is fine. You know, personally, I'd prefer this to be a 7 kilowatt charger. And, you know, if neither of both sides are being used on the charger, you know, it does make sense for it to be 7 kilowatts. But 3 kilowatts is fine as well, for the purpose of what this charger is for. And for that, it makes the review a lot more interesting, especially in the context of, you know, other chargers. I think what complicates charger reviews definitely is the fact that you have so many configurations of cars, so many charging speeds that are accessible. So for example, a Renault Zoe can only CCS fast charge up to, I think, 40 kilowatts, whereas my car can CCS fast charge up to 100 kilowatts. But then newer cars can fast charge up to 150 kilowatts, 350 kilowatts. Like, it's getting a bit ridiculous that you have the same connector but charging at different speeds. It's kind of the same with phones and rapid charging there. I think realistically what we need to do is to look less at the numbers and think more about, you know, the kind of journeys that we're doing, the distances that we're making, the distances that we're covering. Essentially looking at that charger and seeing, you know, if it's worth it for us. For me, this charger isn't worth it. You know, I only live less than a mile from here, to be honest. So a charger like this wouldn't be very useful. But say if you're coming out from further, you know, I don't know why you come from Birmingham to here to shop, but hey, you know, it is what it is. If you come from like the periphery of Walsall, you know, if you come here, essentially your journey is free. And I think that's the point of this charger. Making people who live slightly further away from Walsall town centre but don't want to go all the way to Birmingham or Wolverhampton or any other of the bigger cities around, yeah, here you go. Here's your charger that gives you that journey for free. So in terms of the overall rating we're going to give this place, well, let's take a look at some of the features. I've broken down my kind of review process into 4 scores and essentially going to take the average of all of them. So the first one is ease of use. This is straight 5 out of 5. You know, it's literally plug in and play. You get here, you park, take one end, jam it into the other end, and that's it, you're charging. Honestly, you can't wish for more. No cards, no apps to deal with. What more is there to it? You know, 5 out of 5. In terms of location, again, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. You know, you're pretty much in the vicinity of like anything you can need. Like, I've already done some pans around just like your immediate area. Like, you got a restaurant, fast food, hotel, and a supermarket, like just right there, as well as like museum and school. Like, you've literally got a lot of essentials right there, just like in your immediate vicinity. On top of that, you've got an entire shopping centre all the way down that way. So I don't think this could be put in a better location other than, you know, say maybe put a roof over your head, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, location wise, 5 out of 5 again. The speed options. So in this category, what I'm looking for more is of how many charging options do you have? Like, say for example, if you've got a charger here that can do 22 kilowatts, will it obviously scale down so you know what your car can support, kind of thing? Or if you have like a few slow chargers, is it in the vicinity of other faster chargers around, or use a similar kind of thing? And so you're kind of looking for the variety of chargers, like the variety of charging options. And unfortunately for this one, I'm going to have to give it 1 out of 5. Mainly just because this is such a slow charger. Realistically, you can't really use it for much else other than, you know, the use scenario that I described there, in that if you're in the periphery of Walsall and you're coming in just to do about an hour of shopping, essentially your journey is free. Because if you're doing anything outside of that, you don't really have any other option or any other way to charge any quicker than that. And I do feel that that's unfortunate, but I can see why it was done in this way. So yeah, that one, 1 out of 5, not really going to give much else. And then finally, costs. So this looks at how much it actually costs for you to use this charger. So like I said, the charger itself is free to use, but again, you are on private land operated by Ocean Parking, and they have their parking tariffs that do apply and are enforced with AMPR. So yeah, you do kind of want to pay those using that app. So I calculated like what it would be for 24 hours down to the shortest amount of time you could spend to pay to spend here. Up to an hour costs about £1.20 now. So that gives an upper bound of 40 pence per kilowatt hour. On the other end of the scale, if you're staying at the Travelodge 24 hours, at £4.90, 24 hours, £4.90, that 3.6 kilowatts, that's giving us around 5 pence per kilowatt hour charge. So yeah, the longer you spend here, obviously the cheaper your charges, but realistically that's, our bounds. And the costs aren't too bad in light of things. Say for example, most rapid chargers these days, they're charging around 45 to 50 pence per kilowatt hour. Back in the day when energy was cheap, this is more towards like the 30p range. So it's cheaper than most options. It still costs money though, and it's definitely more expensive than other free to use chargers, which are very, very rare these days actually. So in the grand scheme of things, I've given that one a 3 out of 5. Overall, when we're averaging up all of the scores, that gives me an overall score of 3.5 out of 5. So yeah, this is our first score. So I think with the information that I've been given, I think now it makes sense to go to a conclusion. So onto that. So in conclusion, what do I think about this charger? So yeah, I think that this charging point actually sets a decent precedent. And this is something that I'd like to see reflected in other stores. So for example, the Tesco next door, I know that Tesco have got like this big initiative going on working with PodPoint to provide electric vehicle chargers. The one in Walsall doesn't have one as far as I'm aware. As of recording this video, the 1st of January 2022. But, something like this, I don't think would go amiss. In fact, I think it would actually make a lot of sense finding ways to provide these chargers. A lot of the chicken and egg situation with electric vehicles is you want chargers in, but there aren't enough vehicles to justify them. But because nobody sees any chargers around, no one's going to buy the vehicles. I'm hoping that with these videos, I'm kind of showing you that different chargers got different utility and they can mean different things to different people. And this is where it's going to come in. 3 kilowatts is somewhat useful. Maybe not perfectly useful, but it does provide some use. And I think having an ecosystem of different levels of chargers and finding ways to implement them all into different places, I think that is going to be a decent strategy forward. So Rolec, well done, you've done well this time. I was coming in to cause a lot of problems, but actually what you've done here is a very nice and simple solution. You literally just plug it in and you don't really have to do anything else. Like that is, no app to deal with, no one's call up, no card to tap. It is absolutely fantastic on that front. And so the fact that you don't get any of that stress on top of it, I think, this is well done. So yeah, overall giving it like 3.5 out of 5. I think this is a decent charger and this one I can recommend. So yeah, that's the Rolec EV charger. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to support me, I do have some crypto addresses. If you just want to send me a little crypto every now and then, I wouldn't mind that. If you have any questions, obviously leave comments and I'll check them out below. But otherwise, yeah, I think this is me. All done. It's been a chilly day. Oh gosh. And yeah, hoping you have a wonderful day. Happy New Year 2022 and on to more videos. All right, see you later and bye-bye. But 3 kilowatts, what does that really mean? Well, so what you get here are 2 3 kilowatt chargers. Well, God, that's even wrong.